Hello, everyone. Here we are, coming upon the third weekend in Advent. You can see the pink candle over my right shoulder. We learned last week that means that Advent is halfway done. And I thought it would be good to talk about waiting. It's hard to wait. We struggle with it. Nobody likes to wait, but we all have to do it. We have to wait in lines at stores. We have to wait in traffic. We have to wait for an elevator. We'd prefer if everything just happened right away. We'd prefer if our Amazon package came right away, if our birthday arrived right away, if recess started right away. But we don't like to wait, and sometimes that waiting causes us anxiety and impatience. I'm kind of amazed by when I put my coffee in the morning for 1 minute, I can hardly wait for it to be done. Well, just so you know, people in the Bible had to wait too. Moses had to wait for 40 years in the desert to be able to glimpse the promised land. Mary had to wait 9 months for Jesus to be born. The apostles had to wait in the upper room for the Holy Spirit at Pentecost before they could go out and preach about Jesus. And even Jesus himself had to wait for 30 years before he began his public ministry. Waiting is a part of life. But how we wait makes all the difference. There are many great stories in the Bible about waiting, but I think the one that came to mind for me was Zechariah and Elizabeth. Zechariah and Elizabeth were an older couple who were married and never were able to have children into their old age. But they didn't lament that. They didn't get mad at God. They didn't quit doing what they knew they should be doing. They went about their jobs. They trusted in God and they had faith. And then one day, Zechariah, who was a priest in the temple, was in the temple, and God revealed to him that they were going to conceive and bear a son. That son was going to be John the Baptist. I think we can learn a lot of things from Zechariah and Elizabeth and how they waited. They waited patiently, trusting in God, with hope, staying strong in their faith, trying their best to live well. What are we waiting for? Well, Christmas break is coming up, so I imagine as students, you're ready for that to happen, and I think teachers too. So we wait for that. It's also Advent. It's a season of waiting, so we wait for Christmas to get here where we welcome in the Christ child. In that sense, we're kind of like Mary in that. And we're in this unique, weird year with the pandemic where everybody is so tired of it. And we're waiting for it to be over. And it eventually will be over. I think we need to not lose sight of the fact that in the midst of this waiting, we need to still live and live well and do what we're supposed to be doing. Like Zechariah and Elizabeth did. They didn't quit living when they didn't get to have a baby. They kept living and they kept obeying God and the commandments and helping other people. So as we go forward, remember, don't live in the future. Don't live in the past. Live in the present because that's where God meets you. Here are a few questions for you to think about and talk about in your families.
Number 1, have you ever had a hard time waiting for something? Number 2, what emotions do you think Zechariah and Elizabeth felt when they found out they were going to have a baby, even at their advanced age?
Okay, I can't wait to see you next week as Christmas gets so close. Have a good week.